Near the pig pen, Pa and Uncle Harry built a bonfire and heated a great kettle of water over it. When the water was boiling, they went to kill the hawk. Then Laura ran and hit her head on the bed and stopped her ears with her fingers so she could not hear the hawk squeal. It doesn't hurt him, Laura, Pa said. We do it so quickly, but she did not want to hear him squeal. In a minute, she took one finger cautiously out of an ear and listened. The hawk had stopped squealing. After that, butchering time was great fun. It was such a busy day, with so much to see and do. Uncle Harry and Pa were jolly, and there would be spare lips for dinner. And Pa had promised Laura and Mary the bladder and the pig's tail. As soon as the hawk was dead, Pa and Uncle Henry lifted it up and down in the boiling water till it was well scalded. Then they laid it on a board and scraped it with their knife, and all blisters came off. After that, they hung the hawk in a tree, took off the insides and left it hanging to cool. When it was cold, they took it down and cut it up. There were hams and shoulders, side meat and spare lips and belly. There was the heart and the liver and the tongue and the head to be made into head cheese, and the dish pan full of bits to be made into sausage. The meat was laid on a board in the back door shade, and every piece was sprinkled with salt. The hams and the shoulders were put to pickle in brine, for they would be smoked like the venison in the holy log. You can't particularly kill him, Pa said. He was blowing up the bladder. It made a little white balloon, and he tied the end tight with a string and gave it to Mary and Laura to play with. They could throw it into the air and spat it back and forth with their hands. Oh, it would bounce along the ground and they could kick it. But even better fun than a balloon was the pig's tail. Pa skidded it for them carefully, and into the large end he trapped the sharpened stick. Ma opened the front of the cook stove and let hot coal out into iron heat. Then Laura and Mary took turns holding the pig's tail over the coals. It sizzled and fried, and drops of fat drip off it and blazes on the coals. Ma sprinkled it with salt. Their hands and their faces got very hot, and Laura burned her finger, but she was so excited she did not care. Roasting the pig's tail was such fun that it was hard to play fair taking turns. At last, it was done. It was nicely brown all over, and how good it smelled! They carried it into a yard to cool it, and even before it was cold enough, they began tasting it and burned their tongues. They ate every little bit of meat off the bones, and then they gave the bones to Jack, and that was the end of the pig's tail. There would not be another one till next year. Uncle Harry went home after dinner, and Pa went away to his work in the big woods. But for Laura and Mary and Ma, butchering time had only begun. There was a great deal for Ma to do, and Laura and Mary helped her. All that day and the next, Ma was trying out the lard in pig iron pots on the cook stove, Laura and Mary carry wood and watch the fire. It must be hot, but not too hot, or the rat would burn. The big pots simmer and boil, but they must not smoke. From time to time, Ma skimmed out the brown cracking. She put them in a cloth, squeezed out every bit of the rat, and then she put the crackings away. She would use them to flavor ginny cake later. Crackings were very good to eat, but Laura and Mary could have only a taste. They were too rich for little girls, Ma said. Ma scraped and cleaned the head carefully, and then she boiled it till all the meat fell off the bones. She chopped the meat fine and her chopping knife in the wooden bowl. She seasoned it with pepper and salt and spice. Then she mixed the paprika with it and set it away in a pan to cool. When it was cool, it would cut in slices, and that's what had cheese. The little pieces of meat, lean and fat, that had been cut off the large pieces. Ma chopped and chopped until it was all chopped fine. She seasoned it with salt and pepper and with dry sage leaf from the garden. Then, with her hands, she tossed it and turned it until it was well mixed, and she molded it into balls. She put the balls in a pan out in the shade, where they would freeze and be good to eat all winter. That was the sausage. When butchering time was over, there were the sausage and the head cheese, the big jars of lead, and the cake of white fork out in the shade, and in the attic hung the smoked hams and shoulders. The little house was fairly bursting with good food stored away for the long winter. The pantry and the shade and the cellar were full, and so was the attic. Laura and Mary must play in the house now, for it was cold outdoors, and the brown leaves were falling from the trees. The fire in the cook stove never went out. At night, Pa banked it with ash to keep the coal alive till morning. The attic was a lovely place to play. The large, round, colored pumpkin made beautiful chairs and tables. The red peppers and the onion dank overhead. The hams, the venison hung in their pepper wrapping, and all the butcher and dry herbs, the spicy herbs for cooking and the bitter herbs for medicine, gave the place dusty spicy smell. Often the wind blew outside with a cold and lonesome sound, but in the attic, Laura and Mary played house with the squatter and the pumpkin, and everything was snug and cozy. Mary was bigger than Laura, and she had a rag doll named Nettie. Laura had only a corn cob wrapped in the handkerchief, but it was a good doll. It was named Susan. It was Susan's fault that she was only a corn cob. Sometimes Mary let Laura hold Nettie, but she did it only when Susan could not see. The best time of all were at night. After supper, Pa brought his trap in from the shed to grease them by the fire. He lapped them and brine and greased the things of the jars and the springs of the ponds with a feather dip in their grease. There were small traps and middle-sized traps, and great bear traps with teeth in their jaws. That Pa said would break a man's leg if they shut onto it. While he greases the trap, Pa told Laura and Mary written jokes and stories, and afterward, he would play his fiddle. The doors and the windows were tightly shut, and the cracks of the window frames shuttered with cloth to keep out the cold. But Black Susan, the cat, came and went as she pleased, day and night through the swinging door of the cat hole in the bottom of the front door. She always went very quickly, so the door would not catch her tail when it fell shut behind her. One night, when Pa was greasing the straps, he watched Black Susan come in and he said, "There was once a man who had two cats, a big cat and a little cat." Laura and Ma ran to lean on his knees and heard the lace. He had two cats, Pa repeated, a big cat and a little cat. So he made a big cat hole in his door for the big cat, and then he made a little cat hole for the little cat. There Pa stopped. "But why could the little cat?" Mary began. "Because the big cat couldn't let it," Laura interrupted. "Laura, that is very rude. You must never interrupt," said Pa. "But I see," he said, "that either one of you has more sense than the man who cut the two cat holes in his door." Then he laid away the traps and he took his fiddle out of his box and began to play. That was the best time of all.